You're listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station. I'm Caroline Surface, Multimedia Editor for the Chanticleer.
And I'm Madison Sharrock, the Digital Managing Editor for the Chanticleer, which is Coastal Carolina University's student-run newspaper.
And we have a very exciting episode today. First off, we were talking about the weather. We're so excited about the weather. It was like 55 this morning when I woke up, and now it's in the 60s. Feels great. Definitely a great break from that hot weather we were having. I was sick of that, honestly. So talking about our pitch meeting Monday, we had a great meeting with all our candidates and reporters and staff editors to go over our Halloween issue that's coming out on the 31st. But we also have an issue coming out tomorrow, our homecoming issue, and homecoming is this weekend. So we have some very exciting stories dealing with that, about the homecoming parade. The Greek organizations have been decorating banners for this parade, and we'll definitely have more on this later.
Yes, all of the Greek organizations have decorated and made their own banners. They are hanging up all over Blanton Park, all over the Lib Jackson Student Union. It is just awesome, and it's full of school spirit, and it's really nice to see something like this. And we have the most students that we've ever had this year. So I think homecoming is going to be really special this weekend against the Ragin' Cajuns, and we'll get into the sports and the prediction about that just a little bit later.
Even at the first game, the student section was full, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like at homecoming this weekend.
And then following, after next week, we play App State, Appalachian State University in North Carolina, our biggest rivals. So it's definitely a time for football.
That's going to be an amazing game. I'm so excited to be there.
Especially if we have this type of weather, I'm there.
Oh yeah. You can wear your cute little jeans and you're not going to be sweating your butt off, which is going to be very nice.
Definitely. We have a packed show for you guys today. We have so much news, so much culture, and we have a few opinion pieces also coming in this issue, and we're also going to give you guys a little bit of a teaser for our next issue following that, which is our Halloween issue, which how appropriate is that, because Conway unofficially changed their name to Halloween South Carolina.
Yeah, Conway really helped us out with this issue because of the name change for the town, and we have a lot of information on that and even some backlash from the community about them changing their name. So we'll definitely be talking about that later in the show.
Yes. Whenever you pick up, and I know all of you will pick up a newspaper tomorrow, fresh off the press, 8 a.m., flip to the double track, right in the middle of the newspaper. We will be right back with some news segments, and you are listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina University student-run radio station.
You're listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station, and you're back with Caroline and Madison from the Chanticleer newspaper, which is Coastal's student-run newspaper. So we were just talking before about Halloween, South Carolina, and how we have more details surrounding that. So Izzy Nielsen, one of our candidates, wrote a great article in our paper that is the Double Truck. And if you don't know what that is, it's the double spread in the newspaper about Halloween, South Carolina. And she also wrote about some controversy that's surrounding it. So a little background information. The city of Conway has renamed to Halloween, South Carolina since 2021. And since that year, it's really grown in decor, and they have different events. Like they have the Tunnel of Bones, which is a bunch of huge skeletons that you can walk through. My parents went to it, and they took pictures. It looked amazing, and we have a picture of it in the paper coming out tomorrow. But there's been some backlash from the community on Facebook. So being in Conway, there's a lot of older people, there's a lot of religious people, and a lot of people who don't celebrate Halloween at all, who are very against it. And Isabel kind of goes into this on her article about why they don't like this, that they have the Halloween South Carolina, and it's in everyone's faces, so it's not something that they can exactly ignore, and they've been really outspoken about it. But some workers from downtown Conway have said that they really like it, and other visitors have said that they really like it. It's a good thing for families to go out and do, to have an event to go to, because if you have little ones, you're not going to want to go to a haunted house or any kind of scary movie. So it's a great Halloween themed thing that families can do, in my opinion. What do you think, Madison?
Yes, absolutely. I remember when this first came about in 2021, I believe I was just a little baby freshman, and we didn't get an interview with Mayor of Conway, Barbara Blaine Bellamy, because this year they have gone above and beyond. I have heard that this year's Halloween South Carolina is the best since they've began it. And they have so many events that she wasn't available for an interview. However, when I spoke to her over the phone, first of all, the most compassionate. She is just so able to carry a conversation no matter who you are. You can tell that she is also very genuine about it, and I could tell how genuine she felt about renaming the town and the decorations that go into it. There is no ill intent behind any of this, and excuse me if I'm speaking for her, but it's really not meant to be what a lot of traditional families, mostly Christian families, that's also speaking from experience, that's my experience. A lot of Christians don't celebrate Halloween because of the underlying meanings and things like that, but Halloween South Carolina has nothing to do with those underlying meanings. It is genuinely, like what you were saying, Caroline, for family fun, something to go take pictures with, something new, because we see these towns decorating for the holiday season, for Hanukkah, Christmas, anything during the winter time. You see these towns decked out. How many towns have you seen decked out for Halloween? And a lot of people that I know, shout out to Madison Paget, our print managing editor. Some people, it is their favorite holiday of all time, and I think they deserve something like that.
It's so much fun. I mean, I grew up trick-or-treating and going to different Halloween events, trunk or treats, everything, and it brings so much nostalgia back to see the town like that, because you'll see houses decorated, but it's different to have an entire town and like near shops and city hall, and it's really cool to see something like that done. I love the jack-o'-lanterns in the tree. I think they're so cute. So
have you seen all the jack-o'-lanterns like here in at school, and then by like the hospital? The hospital has pink ones.
Yeah,
for breast cancer awareness.
Yeah, they've really done up like the entire town. It's so cute. I love how they combine those both too.
Right, and it's like for me, I see things like that, and it means that this is a community. I genuinely live in a community that like cares.
Yeah, they want people to get out, and they want them to do things with their family and their friends. So it's really heartwarming to see that. We also have another article that Madison Paget wrote. You were just talking about her. And she spoke with Misty Williams, who's a communication professor, and she has an extensive background in all things political communication. And Madison's going to tell Madison right here with an O.
Madison with an O.
is going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go film a podcast later with Madison talking about the political polarization of not even just campus, the entire nation, and how polarized and how divisive politics can be. And I was reading Madison's article, which is up online at chanticleernews.com if you would like to follow along with me. If not, you can hear me talk about it. Madison's article is amazingly written, and I thought that Dr. Williams, her interview with Dr. Williams, put this perfectly. So here's a quote from her article. Political polarization is the societal division of ideological extremes, and the increasing contempt between political parties has fractured the political sphere, pushing people further away from each other. And it's really buried into this concept that you have to pick a side. And I think it's really important for people to realize that things aren't so black and white. There is always a gray area, no matter what topic it's about, whether it's like the most controversial issue that policy deals with, there is always a gray area. And that is why it's so important in politics you don't have to pick a side. The point of having a two-party system is for you to be exposed to other ideologies and other mindsets that maybe you didn't grow up with. Like, it's so important. And I think it's really important, like, maybe we understand the importance a little bit more than other people since we are journalists, but listening. Stop talking and listening. Start to listen to who you're speaking with. I think that is so valuable.
And we talked about the two-party system in one of my classes last year, talking about how, America's, they say they kind of made it easy for people, where it's like you either believe this side or this side, but how that's, if anything, divided people so much because they've done so many polls of Americans and everyone's pretty much down the middle. So most people can see both sides, but so many arguments now aren't really even dealing with policy. And Madison talks about in an article how we're dealing with identity rather than policy. So we blame politicians and we argue over people's identities, we argue over different social things, and we're not even getting down to policies or issues. And we have so many politicians now who are very outspoken and, let me put it, not very media trained, I would say. And so then they are saying things flippantly, and you can't get down to issues when you're attacking people personally. And so I think a lot of people can't talk nowadays because they're so quick to attack and they don't listen. Like Madison was saying, when you're a journalist, you're interviewing people, you get really good at listening. And even like I'm not the best at that sometimes. Everyone can work on that.
Yes, absolutely. Just next time you're at a family gathering and, that one family member across the table is trying to start an argument about who are you going to vote for this time around, this presidential election. Just, I don't know, like, be curious, ask questions. Once you think that you are so right in every single one of your opinions, which are called opinions for a reason, once you start to think those are fact, you are in deep trouble. Because not only is that ignorant, that is just the opposite of what America should be. And it's really disheartening sometimes. It really makes me upset. I'm like gonna get emotional like talking about it, but it just, how divisive politics can be is really, really eye-opening. And it's sad that a lot of political ideologies also reflect morals and how it can really split relationships, whether that be familial relationships, just friendships, relationships, things like that. Just everyone who's listening, please, please, please realize your duty to democracy, and your duty is so important to vote. I don't know, like that is how you make your voice heard. I don't know how else you can, other than calling your local officials, but who really does that?
And remember this at your next family dinner.
Yes. Yeah. We'll be back with more, and you are listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina University's student-run radio station.
You're listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station, and you're back with Caroline and Madison from the Chanticleer, which is Coastal Carolina's student-run newspaper.
Hi, guys.
And we were just talking about Madison Pageant's article about political polarization and how she talked to Dr. Misty Williams, and we wanted to, if you weren't tuning in for our last segment, we kind of wanted to give you a recap by saying one of the quotes that's in there. So she talked about how people must start listening to each other rather than seeing who can argue the loudest, and that is from Misty Williams. And we had a whole discussion about it, so we're going to be posting reels in our YouTube video about it later if you want to hear that. But on to culture.
This is a warning for little ears. Yeah. Cover little ears listening just for a few moments.
And you'll see why, so put the kids away while you listen to this one. Anyways, so Sex Toy Bingo happened. Sage, students advocating for gender equality, they run Sex Toy Bingo, and this is the third year that they've done this. And I'm going to read the lead for the story because I thought it was very cool. The whole article written by Lillian Guiguer is kind of, it's filled with little innuendos and cheeky things, and I love it. So the lead is the Coastal Theater and the Liv Jackson Student Union at Coastal Carolina University was buzzing with excitement on October 10th as bingo players aimed for the ultimate prize, not just bragging rights, but a bounty of sex toys. And they do this every year. They partner with Bad Kitty. I know Bad Kitty donated 2 different baskets of sex toys for them to have, and you get the idea. They play bingo, give sex toys, but they also raise awareness about sex ed, about safe sex, and so it's a really good event, and all the funds and proceeds, they go to Second Chance Prom, which is for straight and queer students who didn't get a chance to go to their high school prom. So it's a very heartwarming thing, and yeah, I've always wanted to go. I've never gone. I don't know why I haven't gone. I could have been winning some prizes by now.
The only time I ever went was to cover the very first one that they did, and they originally did it in the Alfred Ballroom down by the Athenaeum Hall. And it was such a small room that they had to move it to the Liv Jackson Theater. There are so many students that go to that, and when I spoke to Bella, the president of the club, back in 2022, I believe, she said that she was so floored how many people came. They were not expecting that many people. And again, they filled the theater last semester, and they filled the theater again this semester. So, and I loved the innuendos. Like, they will make you chuckle when you read the story. That's exactly what I did too whenever I wrote the very first sex toy bingo event article. It was so fun to write.
Oh, it's got to be such a fun story to write.
It was.
We don't want to spoil it. So we're going to just tease you and let you know that there's some innuendos in there. But they said a lot of the other toys, too, were purchased from Spencer's. They said Adam and Eve was going to do a partner last year, but they backed out. So they got a lot from Spencer's, and then Bad Kitty sponsored it. And it's funny how you say they couldn't fit people in that room, because I remember when you went to it for the first one, and you said, it was so full.
People were sitting on the floor.
And that's a great thing, because some campus events like that, you don't know if you're going to get a big turnout. And I'm glad they got a big turnout, because it's for a really good cause.
Yes, absolutely. And like what we were saying, little kiddos can come back into the room.
Oh, yeah.
It is homecoming week, so this weekend there is the homecoming parade, which they do every year. Halloween South Carolina's annual homecoming parade will take place on Saturday, October 19th at 9:30 a.m. And organizations are revving their golf carts to cruise the streets of downtown Conway, or what is now known as Halloween South Carolina. This is Coastal's 5th year in the parade, and Relay for Life is giving out save the date wristbands. There's also going to be a golf cart competition. It's non-competitive and also competitive, so I assume that the Greek organizations are in the competitive golf cart. I know they did floats last year, so I'm wondering if golf carts are going to be the big thing this year. But yeah, I actually can't remember what sorority and fraternity won last year. I'm blanking on that. But these Greek organizations go all out, and you can tell that they put in a lot of work. They get their entire groups together to put together these floats. And if you're wanting to go to the parade begins at the Conway Public Safety Building on 9th Avenue, and then it will continue down Laurel Street and into downtown Conway, ending at the Marina Drive and Elm Street. I went to the parade, I think the past 2 years, and it's honestly, just like I was saying with all the pumpkins hanging up in Halloween, South Carolina in general, it is such a good event to bring community together and to see alumni there. Anyone you talk to, and again, maybe it's just because we're journalists and we go up to people and start up random conversations, but I've talked to like so many alumni that were just at the parade. I talked to people who personally have like donated money, and like, which building was it? I literally talked to someone last year who was like named after the Prince Hall.
Prince.
Like, can you believe it? Like, you would be so surprised by the people that go to these parades and how many people you can talk to. And maybe that's just me talking to people, but
that being said, you never know who you're gonna meet. So get out in your community, do stuff. I've been to the Christmas parade that Conway does, and it's such a cute place for a parade. There's places to go eat after, to shop, to support local businesses, and with the Halloween one, you get to take pictures of all the decor around you, and yeah.
And speaking of Halloween, we were just talking about, we have an op-ed coming out in the issue tomorrow about costumes. So, Caroline, what are you going to be for Halloween?
So I'm going to be going to a bar crawl that actually we have a story coming out tomorrow on the web about this bar crawl that I'm going to. But I'm going to be a cop, and then my boyfriend is going to be an inmate. So you see what I did there?
Yeah.
It goes together, yeah. What are you going to be, Madison?
I was thinking something like Queen of Hearts, but I also don't know. My friends and I were also talking about like a trio costume, and I don't know, but I would love to do like a Monster High trio. Yeah, like I think that would be so nostalgic.
I used to get the monster dolls all the time. People were like obsessed with Bratz and Barbies, and I was like, the Monster High dolls is where it's at.
I love Monster High so much. Like, that is what shaped me growing up. And they have so many cool characters, and it's so easy to dress up as them. So, I don't know. I guess we will see on Instagram what we want. Well, I'll end up being. But I think Queen of Hearts would be really cool. And if you guys tune in to our next show 2 weeks from now, we will be in some sort of costume. So don't miss out on that.
And they're not going to be the costumes we just said, so you're going to be surprised.
You'll be so surprised and excited for us, guys.
Some costumes we expect.
Yes.
So, funny enough, we wrote down Chapel Roan as a costume that we expect, and Megan responded back, Megan Wallace, who was former editor-in-chief of the Chanticleer, she responded back and told us that we should talk about Chapel Roan, which I thought was very funny because we already put this, and I think we're going to see a lot of that for Halloween. You know, she's got the iconic red curly hair. I feel like I could do that if I just, like, got a bottle of hairspray paint.
Oh my gosh, and like made your hair really big. I'm obsessed with her hair. Like, I really love Chapel Roan and her music, and her outfits are so, like, they're packed with detail, and so like it might be a little offensive to her to see people dressing up as her for Halloween, but I think it would be a really cool idea to do what was it, the MTV or no, VMAs. The VMAs when she was like the Joan of Arc, and
then at
Statue of Liberty.
One of her sets, Statue of Liberty, because I was at Imaginations the other day in Myrtle Beach, and I saw a Statue of Liberty costume, and instead of actually thinking of, you know, Statue of Liberty, NYC, I thought of Chapel Roan. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I paint like my face teal and like do my hair curly out there.
Exactly. She just has so many iconic looks, and that would be a really good idea. We're also expecting to see a lot of Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and Morgan Gallagher, who wrote the op-ed, she said that she believes she will see a lot of the Secret Life of Mormon Wife costumes, which is interesting.
So I watched it on Hulu. Basically, it's kind of like a Real Housewives but Mormon edition, so they're all Mormon, they live in Utah, and they can't drink coffee, you know, it's like against their religion, so they always walk around with these big sodas. So I think if somebody had like some really put in place hair, a nice little outfit, and they were just like holding a big soda, I honestly think, oh my gosh, Secret Life of Mormon Wives. So that was kind of my idea. Also with the curly hair in Chapel Roan, I think we're going to see a lot of Charlie XCX, Troye Sivan.
Yes. Just brat.
Just brat.
Lime green everything.
If you're wearing lime green and have curly hair, we're instantly going to know who you're really trying to be.
Absolutely. At least people our age might.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder, like, I don't know. We'll get into that in a second. And you are listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina University student-run radio station. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station. And you're back with the Chanticleer with Caroline and Madison, which is Coastal's student-run newspaper. And we are going to talk about an op-ed that Madison is writing about senioritis. And I am so passionate about this topic because, I mean, we're both seniors, and it's deeper than just graduating. There's so much stuff that you're dealing with. Not only are you trying to job search, but you're also trying to just get your degree done, keep your grades up, but you experience like not being motivated, you experience imposter syndrome. And I mean, what does your article entail?
Well, because I have come down with a really bad case of senioritis, I haven't written it yet, but it will talk a lot about imposter syndrome. And I feel like I have experienced that like since my freshman year, but like being a senior, it's like, I mean, also as a comm major, sometimes it's hard because you're always told that, oh, since you're not in STEM, like you have an easy major and things like that. But maybe like in my head, I'm always like, oh, is it just easy or am I smart? Am I good at communication? And I like to believe that I'm smart. I hope that I'm smart. But it's the unmotivation, the imposter syndrome, like it just, some days I don't even want to get out of bed. But and then in my head, I'm like, it's my senior year. I need to be going out and I need to be doing stuff. I need to be like, also disclaimer, I'm 21. So I'm like, oh, I need to be going out to the bars. I need to be going out every night. But I never did that the past 3 years, so I start doing it now. So I don't know, it's like a constant internal battle between I'm not doing enough and I'm doing too much. Like where, I don't know. And I'm really scared that when I go to graduate and I'm not at Coastal anymore, am I going to be satisfied with my experience? And I hope I will be. I think I will be. I've had a really good time at Coastal. I'm really, really, really glad I went here. And I remember freshman and sophomore year, I second guessed it almost every single day. I'm like, and I'm from Ohio, so I was like, do I transfer? Do I go back to Ohio? And oh my God, I am so glad I did not. I think like God put me on this path, and I am so glad for that.
I think it's very validating to hear when you talk about that, how people have said to you that, oh, you're not a STEM major, and you like to believe that you're smart. Because growing up, I mean, my sister is a STEM major. She's in PA school right now. And I think what we do is just different. It's not a competition of whether you're smart enough or not. It's what I've realized is what I do is just completely different from STEM majors. You know, I'm filming videos for projects. We were just talking about, I've like been in like a random tunnel under Ocean Boulevard because I'm filming a stand-up for my news class about it, and then I'm like pulling off the side of the road to go and talk to this person because they have this sign in their front yard and that has to do with my project. So it's just so many different things that you're doing, and I think it's hard sometimes to hone in and be like, okay, well, I'm not sitting here doing homework for hours, so am I even smart? Like, what am I doing? I'm not in the library sitting there doing homework. I'm like out there filming some kind of video. So it's a weird thing, and imposter syndrome is so real because I had an internship last semester, and obviously, you know, they chose me for a reason, and I got the job for a reason because I'm sitting there in the office. But it's hard when those voices come in your head and creep in and say, oh, well, are you even supposed to be here? Or you might get like a bad grade on one assignment and you're like, dang, what am I even doing? Like, am I supposed to be here? Am I even good at my job? So I think that's very normal for a lot of people. And the more I talk to people in my major and just like art majors in general, they get it. And I think it's hard to see. You're applying for jobs and you have to market yourself, but it's hard to see yourself from an outside perspective.
It's really hard. And it's like, oh, am I only in this position because I know this person? Mm-hmm. Am I here because our school has 11,000 students, you know? So, and like part of me, I am like really glad. I don't think I would have been able to have the opportunities at a different school than here at Coastal. I am so grateful that Coastal is going to be my alma mater. And I'm also a first generation college student, so I want to talk about that in my op-ed as well. This college degree is going to literally, I'm getting like goosebumps thinking about getting my degree, because like it's going to mean so much to me, and I know it's going to mean a lot to like my sister Courtney, if you're listening. Hi. Like I know it's just going to mean a lot to me and like people who care about me. So
that's so exciting. Yeah.
Read more on my op-ed whenever it comes out, the issue after this one. So just a little teaser for you guys. But moving on from such a sad subject.
Moving on to happier things.
And if any of you guys relate to that, email me. Please reach out to the Chanticleer News. Email me at mb Sharrock without the K, or just type in Madison at coastal.edu. Find me somewhere and reach out to me, please, because I would love to include that in my op-ed or something like that.
Madison graduates in May, and I graduate in December, so...
Oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot you graduate. Man.
Understand it. So you can reach out to me, too, if you want, or Madison. Like, we are open to talk because I want to normalize the subject.
Yeah,
but anyways,
absolutely.
Moving on to sports. We have a cheer feature coming out that our candidate, Maddie Bennett, wrote, and I read this and I loved it. I don't think we've ever done like a feature story about the cheerleaders, right? Like a feature about like what they do on their day-to-day.
From the time that at least you and I have been in here, no. We've had like a lacrosse, like club lacrosse feature, things like that, like what it looks like at an away game, but never cheer. So this is very interesting.
And we hear so much about football, and we hear so much about baseball, other sports that are going at Coastal, but we never really hear about the cheer team and what they're doing on a day-to-day. So in her article, she writes that they have practices Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and they vary from 2 to 3 hours, and they dedicate themselves to bringing Brooks Stadium alive on crucial Saturday nights. And I love that word, alive, because if you didn't have cheerleaders, if you didn't have anybody pumping up the crowd, then you don't have a game. I mean, people are still playing it, but if the crowd isn't into it, then what's the point? And the cheerleaders really add that life into the game.
Yeah, and the chants that makes the game, that makes the experience. Have you ever been to a game without chants?
No, like what would a game be if there was not cheer, if there was not band, if there was not those chants? I mean,
it would be boring. That's what it would be.
And so she was talking about the whole day process that goes to prepare for the game. So their hair, their makeup, their practice. And the article also talks about how they did tryouts virtually this year instead of in person, and how they have their competitive Daytona season approaching. And so members are fighting for a spot. There's only 20 spots for each team. And they're really using Daytona as their motivation, which is a great goal to work towards.
Absolutely. And when you're in a sport like cheer, you need something to keep you going, like something down the line to work toward. And I feel like that can go for a lot of things, like have that end goal, have those endeavors that you want to strive toward. I think this is really cool. And Meadow Myers, our sports editor, took an amazing photo of the cheerleading squad and their pyramid.
Y'all will see it in the issue tomorrow. I love it. It's so great.
It is such a good picture. Like, it is so cool. And we had we're going to have a preview of this weekend's homecoming game against the University of Louisiana at Lafayette at noon. And Jasmine Whitfield, our candidate, wrote that article, so tune in for that. It'll be on Chanticleer News, or if you pick up a physical copy. Recently, the Raging Cajuns won 34-24 over the App State Mountaineers, our biggest rival. And the Chanticleers lost last week to the James Madison Dukes by 39-7. I witnessed that firsthand, and it was devastating. However, we are undefeated in SBC play, Sun Belt Conference play. We're averaging 38 points per game, where the Cajuns are doing 34 per game. So historically, the Chanticleers have enjoyed a competitive edge over them. So we will see how this goes. And we will be back in just a couple minutes with our outro. And you are listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina University student-run radio station.
You are listening to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station. You're back with Caroline and Madison from the Chanticleer, which is Coastal student-run newspaper. And we've had a great show. Madison and I were just talking about how we can pull a bunch of like reels and videos from the show, so we're very excited.
Yes, no technical difficulties, no fire alarms in the middle of it. Like, this is great.
You say that the fire alarm's about to go.
Oh, come on, knock on wood.
Oh, no. But Madison wanted to give a little teaser about a special op-ed she has coming out about fan etiquette and how it's very timely. You know, we have homecoming coming up. We have an App State game. It's coming up soonish. So fan etiquette's always important. And why is that?
Yes, it just seems like I'm full of opinions this issue and next. And just as I am existing, just full of opinions all the time. So I visited Virginia for the first time. Like, I've always driven through it on my way down to school. I've been to Arlington, but that doesn't really count as Virginia. So I went to Virginia. I saw the Shenandoah National Park. I saw the Blue Ridge Mountains. JMU's campus was so beautiful. And just for context, I was there October 10th for the JMU versus CCU football game, and it was so fun. But this is just it serves as a PSA, my op-ed. Please read it in the paper tomorrow for details. Remember, I was always told, remember who you are and what you represent, especially if you're wearing Coastal merch. That is what you're representing. You are representing CCU as a whole. Be nice, be respectful. Rivalries are only fun when it's all in good fun, so just don't assault people. Please don't touch anyone, especially if they're from the visiting team. Be aware of your surroundings and help those out in need if needed. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Rivalries are only fun when no one is hurt.
Yeah, my parents always told me that you never know who's around you. You never know if it's your future employer, if it's someone you might know.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just remember that at the homecoming game this weekend against Louisiana, and especially at the App State game, who Beach versus Mountains, that's a huge rivalry, and especially with App State. So just remember that, everyone. And remember that our print issue comes out tomorrow off the press, 8 a.m.
Every building on campus and at Rustic Roast.
Yes. And we will see you guys in 2 more weeks. And you're listening to WCCU Radio.